the meeting now. But yeah, so this week we're going to be talking about advocacy. It's a word that I feel like encompasses a lot of things and can mean a lot of different things to each individual person. And we're going to be talking about that today and what it means with PIH Engage and PIH in general, and how each of us can be an advocate for ourselves and for others and all of that great stuff. Okay, so also, this is just me being like, hey, register to vote, everyone. Super important. November 3rd is the election. I don't care who you vote for, but getting your voice out there and making your voice heard, super important. We love it. There's the first link is just going to see, you can check if you're registered, and then if not, you can register. And the second one is something really great provided by OSU and OSU Votes. And it helps you figure out if you're an Ohio State resident, that type of like registration. Also, if you're an out-of-state resident, how you can vote while you're at school, even though you're from out of state. So there's great resources there too. I want to make sure everyone has that provided to them. Okay, so we're going to start off with this video that I found. It's a TEDx talk hosted in Texas, I think, and it doesn't necessarily talk specifically about partners in health. It doesn't necessarily talk about advocacy and public health, but I think it's interesting to approach the subject of advocacy and the way that our generation has kind of gone about it. So you should be able to hear the video. There also might be an
After 30 days, I could not believe my before and after picture. I literally rolled back the hands of time 10 years. When I first saw this part,
okay. Can you guys hear the video? Okay, cool. Also, I am gonna play it at a speed note a little faster so that hopefully we can get through it quicker.
So as I said, my name is Karen McAllister. I'm a graduate student here from the Department of Communication, and I'm also a UTA alum, so yes. So I'm going to be talking about advocacy through social media. How many of y'all use social media with a show of hands? Don't be shy. That's what I'm talking about.
Okay, also, she's going to say y'all a lot because she's from Texas, so just like be prepared. Okay, that's all I have to say.
All right, so those of y'all that use social media, how many of y'all use a hashtag? Raise your hands again, don't be shy, y'all. All right, still a few amount of y'all. So one thing I want y'all to think about is, every time that you use social media, you're sending out a message. This message you're sending out, depending upon what medium you use, or social media platform, however you prefer to say it, says something. You're either saying something about an event going on, maybe it's the meal that you just ate. I'm talking about y'all Instagram people, taking photos of your food. We all do it, don't be shy. Maybe you're trying to get a job on LinkedIn. Social media has been around and it's been very important. But if you stop to think about the numbers behind social media, the numbers in the sense of looking at how many people use this. 90% of young adults, 18 to 29, use social media. Men and women for the first time in history have equal usage online. That means there's equal representation for the first time online for men and women. And 50 to 60% in 3 categories of race, African American and Black, Hispanic, and white, are online. Unfortunately, the study from Pew Research Center did not look at any other races outside of these 3. So what I want you to think about is, these numbers, they say something, right? Voices are being put online. Things are being said that really matter. So what I did is I looked at the top 10 trending hashtags from 2014 and 2015. And I examined them and looked at them. Cool, yeah, those are hashtags, what do they really matter? Well, this all plays into my passion. I love social media, I study it, I've written multiple papers for grad classes on social media. But also it plays into human rights. So one of the passions I was given early on from my parents, who one had an English degree, the other one had criminology, criminal justice, to talk about a diverse background. They gave me the understanding that when you are raised and you think about everybody else you interact with daily, you're interacting with other humans. They may have different identities every single day. Everybody's a little bit different, but they are still equal. They all have rights, and everybody should. So what I did with these top trending hashtags is look to see how many of these express human rights issues. So, 2014, great year to start with. Here are the top 10 hashtags from 2014. Everything from Alex from Target to Bring Back Our Girls to Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. There's a little bit something for everybody there. Now let's go ahead and remove the ones that maybe just don't really apply to human rights issues. Sorry, tan suit, you're not on the list. That leaves us with 7 hashtags. that have a discussion about human rights issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through a couple of these so that we're all on the same page and totally get these. Yes, all women. This is from a May 2014 incident, a violent attack in California, where unfortunately 6 were shot and killed and 13 were wounded. This really brought about a discussion about the injustices and violence that women face on a daily basis. A perfect example of this is I walk to my car every single day, from the parking garage to here, back and forth. I have to have my keys out and my pepper spray out. Why? Because I don't feel safe. It's nothing any different anywhere you go. I still have my keys and pepper spray out, even to go get mail from my mailbox, because I'm a woman. Bring back our girls. In April 2014, 276 girls were kidnapped by the Boko Haram. This really put on the map an international issue of human trafficking and, once again, women's rights. Pictures, much like this one with Michelle Obama, were circulated across online, including how many days these girls were still missing. Ice Bucket Challenge. I'm sure many of y'all have done the Ice Bucket Challenge. Y'all have that video, or maybe your favorite fail video, it's okay. This happened in summer 2014. It really brought about understanding Lou Gehrig's disease. It really led to a surge in donation dollars in a disease that was not getting the same press as everything else. For once, there was a discussion outside of something on cancer or Alzheimer's. This disease was able to actually see much new research happen because of this social media post. I am Mike Brown. August 2014, Michael Brown was shot and killed. This really brought in the conversation of police misconduct and racism in America that is still going on currently today. Black Lives Matter and All Lives Matter. I'm sure everyone in this room at this point has probably heard of one or both of these hashtags. Black Lives Matter brought about the discussion of understanding really what does it matter in this world and day. Trayvon Martin's death really spurred a whole conversation of injustices that are still happening today, even though we've already passed civil rights movement. We've moved past forward by a couple decades now at this point, and there's still something going on. All Lives Matter came about after 2 police officers were shot point blank in their patrol car. This really decided to have a conversation on the counter side, that everybody's life, no matter what, matters. But when you do that, you're taking away from the whole discussion of Black Lives Matter really being a conversation of injustices to one particular group of people. 2015, another 10 hashtags to look at. That's right, guacamole with peas. New York Times put out a recipe, it became a top one. So let's go ahead and remove the ones that really don't pertain to civil rights issues. That leaves us with 6 hashtags up here. I stand with Ahmed. This started in September 2015. An Irving teen was perceived to have a bomb, but it was actually a homemade clock in his classroom. This led to a discussion about profiling and discrimination of Islamic individuals, something that is still also going on today. Refugees welcome, fall 2015. Syrian refugees were trying to find different places across the world to flee to. This hashtag was sent out by citizens of European countries to show support, to bring in these refugees, to support them in their time of need. However, they were countered with racism. Love wins. On June 26, 2015, marriage equality became a reality in the United States. At this point, 6.2 million tweets of praise and support filled Twitter. Facebook filters became a reality. And finally, something that was a dream for many people was real. Black Lives Matter. This continues from the list of 2014 because this is still ongoing now. Additional cases of police misconduct and racism and inequality were being experienced at this time and had to be discussed. And the top one for 2015 is actually a combination of 2 hashtags, Je suis Charlie and Pray for Paris. This is after the Charlie Hebdo attacks on January 7, 2015, and multiple attacks in November 13, 2015 in Paris. This one has a personal spot in my heart because my husband and I were actually overseas during the first attacks on Charlie Hebdo. We actually left Paris just in about 24 to 48 hours prior to these attacks. So we were over there and we experienced the power of social media and how necessary social media was to reach back out to our family members, to say we're okay. That and Google Video, when your parents want to see you. This also became a discussion about terrorism and international issues that are still going on today, that terrorism was not just a United States issue, but it's a worldwide issue. It opened up many people's eyes to see past just their country. So what do we do with all this information? That's nice, Karen. You showed us a bunch of hashtags. You gave us a nice story. What I want you to do is be informed about these hashtags. Do not use these hashtags just for the sake of likes, retweets, or any favorites. Use these to create a conversation that is larger than yourself. Your voice in this time is just as important as anyone else's. But what if we look at these, looking at these different hashtags at a larger issue? Pray for Paris stands for terrorism. Black Lives Matter, equality. Bring back our girls, human trafficking. Refugees welcome, immigration and refugees. And I stand with Ahmed, profiling and discrimination. If we look at these as part of a larger conversation, we begin to see that each one of these hashtags stands for something larger than itself. If you look at those, many of those issues are actually becoming current issues in the presidential race. Many of these issues are what we're about to have to vote on in November when we select a presidential candidate. These issues are larger than ourselves. I understand that. It might be a little bit daunting to think about that hashtag being part of a larger conversation, but when you tweet out support for Paris, Brussels, or any other city when they've had an attack, you're showing kindness, you're showing humanity. Don't be afraid to do that. I'm gonna leave y'all with a quote, probably one of my favorite ones, to be honest. It means a great deal to those who are oppressed to know that they are not alone. Never let anyone tell you what you're doing is insignificant. When you think that using that hashtag in a particular conversation is insignificant or it's not going to make a difference, it does. Those trending hashtags became top hashtags because each individual added to that conversation. Don't be afraid to add to that conversation. Use your voice to do good. Be an advocate for those who maybe do not have a voice at that time. You never know when you might need them to be your advocate. Thank you.
I'm going to have to figure out how to get out of this. I have billions of things.
I want to show you something that is really, really stupid on my phone. And it reminds me, I'm showing you just a second, but it reminds me of 10 years ago. 10 years ago when I got into this whole online thing, you know what people used to tell me?
Got it.
Including my parents, and I love them. It was this.
Okay. Ignoring that, I've done that every single time. It's not going to change. Anyway, I have so much I could say, but I would love to hear, like, what are your guys' thoughts about that video? I posted the date that video was, or like she gave that talk. It was 4.5 years ago. Does anyone what'd y'all think?
I'll touch on the quote at the end. I really like that quote, and I feel like it ties into a lot of the work we do with PIH Engage. Like, never let anyone tell you that what you do is insignificant. And I feel like sometimes, like, you can be frustrated, like, if, like, something doesn't go your way, or like, something you do doesn't really seem to have an effect. But you never know who's watching, and like never think that your actions, even though they may seem small at the time, are insignificant, because that's never true.
Yeah, I love that too. Okay, I'll say something that I noticed. First of all, it was kind of weird hearing a lot of very similar points, like about how like all of these things were going to be points for the potential like presidential election that year. And I feel like we're kind of at a very pivotal point right now, in the same sense of like dealing with our public health crisis and the issues with racism as a public health crisis, and all of these really hefty topics coming into like such strong points in the campaign. I thought that's just like, yeah, I feel her on that. That's super relevant now too. And then another thing I noticed was that the summaries she posted at the end, like this one was terrorism, this one was for equality, this one was against human trafficking. None of them were like public health related. And this year I feel like that's definitely like, one, it could be different, and like two, we should make it different, because like yay public health. Those are some things that I noticed.
I really liked how she did like year by year, so you could kind of see like how things have changed or evolved, or what hasn't changed and still is a present, like still a continued issue. That was really cool to like go through and actually see like what was trending, and like obviously brought us back to like those years and like actually when everything was going, like when these things were happening. So I really liked how she used examples and like showed us the trending tweets or hashtags from each year, so you can see like the transition and stuff.
Yeah, I like that too. I think it'd be really interesting to do like the years following that as well, to see if anyone wants a fun side project. Go ahead and track the hashtags for the last 4 years. Any other comments? I don't want to take up too much of the time with this because I know Marissa's prepared a really thorough presentation, as well as Alexis and Katie. Like, we've got some good stuff for you today, guys. So if no one else has anything, we can go on to the next slide. 3, 2, 1. Okay, next slide. If I can do it. Nope. Wait, oh my gosh. Okay.
So I first off wanted to start today by having a little conversation about advocacy. I feel like sometimes it can be a little like overwhelming as to what it actually means to be an advocate. So I wanted to get everyone's ideas and we could all like talk about it first and kind of like break it down. So who comes to mind when you think of an advocate? And this can be like a famous person, it can be like someone like you personally know in your life, it can be anybody, or it can even be like a quality in a person. But I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are.
I guess a pretty famous one that comes to my mind would be for this year, last year, is Greta Thunberg with the Green Climate Project. And she really drew a lot of awareness towards advocating for this, for green energy and reducing our emissions.
Definitely. And I feel like a lot of people kind of were like, oh, she's just a girl, she's just a child, like they didn't take her seriously. But I feel like it shows like anyone can be an advocate no matter what age you are or like anything like that. Like you can still you still have a voice and that voice matters.
I feel advocacy is just standing up for something that you believe in, and like fighting through that adversity no matter what. Being an advocate.
Definitely. I feel like those are definitely like good actions that you would associate with advocacy, like or like what it means to you, like fighting through adversity. I feel like if it were easy, then like it would have already been like it would have already happened. So like you wouldn't have needed an advocate for something like that to happen. But I agree, like there's a lot of like tenacity and strength that comes with being an advocate. I'll go on.
I was gonna say to add on, like, it's definitely a lot about educating other people too, and like knowing a lot about what you're advocating for, so that like new people will understand it and will like want to help out as well.
Exactly. That's a point I wanted to make later on, but I'm glad you're making it now. Education is super important, and like not only educating others, but like having that knowledge for yourself, because like people will come at you with a bunch of questions, like trying to understand it and trying to like, I don't know, figure out what it is you're trying to do and what your goals are. So having that strong education is so important. And that's like one of our goals through like the community building and education, like having that as like a foundation for all of our members is really important. So any other thoughts about any of the questions? It could be, what does advocacy mean to you? Or like what actions you associate with advocacy, like a specific thing like you would think of. I would consider voting advocacy as well. So
I also think about, it's just like we kind of have a platform. We're lucky like that we do like live in the US and like have the resources we do, and that's why like we're elevating the voices of like the people without healthcare, without other issues, and that like we are using what we have to help other people and like using our voices and our connections. And advocacy is all about just like trying to help the people who need it most, and by being educated and trying to change things. And I think that's a lot of like what Partisan Health Engaged does too.
Yes, Katie. That was so good. Anybody else have anything they want to share? If not, we can move on to the next slide.
I have one thing I want to add, Marissa. I feel like for me, like advocacy also kind of entails a portion of fighting for something that doesn't necessarily benefit you directly, but it's benefiting like society on a greater level or a group of people that you're not a part of, but it just serves like a social justice like necessity. Like you don't have to benefit from it directly just by like creating a more equitable society you're like benefiting. So like, does that make sense? Yeah.
Definitely. And I feel like sometimes people might be like turned away from advocacy, or like they might be like, oh, well, this doesn't affect me directly, so like I don't know if like I would be a good representative to advocate for it. You know what I mean? Like I feel like sometimes people don't want to like come across like in a negative way with advocacy, but I mean, any positive change I think is good. So that was a good point though, Julie. And we can just move on to the next one. So I want to next talk about specifically what advocacy means within the realm of Partners in Health Engage. And I pulled this quote off from the website from like the Advocacy Lead Manual. And it just really goes into what they mean by advocacy and like what specific actions they want to take. So it's really focused on political action and influence to create change. And there are many different ways to be an advocate, like we talked about education, like building awareness and like community like events and things like that, but also like political change and influence. And that's really where our focus lies. So like creating connections with our policymakers and really like looking at like the broader scale of things, since policy can affect such a large number of people. Our goal is to really like improve equitable health outcomes for everyone in the best way we can. So that's through policy is our avenue. So I'll read the quote, and then I have like I underlined a bunch of different words, so we can talk about those too. So when we talk about advocacy, we are talking about tangible, measurable action taken in order to change or influence a policy that affects global health, and specifically the type of work that Partners in Health carries out. So like equitable health outcomes for everyone and like preferable options for the poor. So I think it's really cool that like we're focusing on like tangible and measurable outcomes, because our actions, it just shows like we're really like working towards something and like working towards that change, and like how we're going to get to that change is through this advocacy. It's through like creating influences in the political system, because like we do have that power. And I think that's really awesome that Partners in Health engages like empowering all of these young people who are passionate about like social justice issues and like giving them a way to actually carry that out. Because like education is very important, but also like it only goes so far, and you have to take that next step to really like put things into action. So that's like the general, like when we talk about advocacy, like that's what we're talking about, is that political action and influence. And we're gonna share a few examples of things that we've participated in over the summer, like examples of campaigns through Partners in Health Engage that are like good showings of advocacy and what we're all about. Does anyone have any questions or comments, or like they're excited about it or whatever? Anything? Okay, we can go to the next slide. So, oh, go back. Wait, is that the, okay. Okay, sorry, I was confused. I was like, I thought you went 2 and then back 1. Is like, now we're going to talk about some tools of how to get there. So one of the biggest ones that we've done so far is meeting with our representatives and their staff. And this is really like it's really cool because you get to actually like talk to them and ask like, oh, like where does the representative sit on this issue, and also like get to share our like views and our goals, and really like you feel like you're really doing something. And so that's like a really powerful tool. And we probably won't be able to do anything in person right now, but that like is a possibility later on. But we can still host Zoom meetings with them. Um, and then another is call-ins and call-a-thons. And call-ins are just like calling the office and pushing forward whatever like goals and agenda we have for that time. And that's like really easy. And we could also host like call-a-thons, which is like trying to get a big group of people to call like throughout the day. So it's kind of like we're bugging them in a way, but it's very effective. And if we can get like a large group of people to support it, then it really shows like, okay, like these politicians need to pay attention to us and like really think about what we're asking and why. And letters to the editor is another tool. And these are often drafted like after like meetings with your representative, and like when you pose the question like, where do they stand on this issue, if they're like, oh, we don't really support it, or I don't know yet, letters to the editor kind of like call them out in a way, which is I think really cool. Like you can do that. So like you can like write about the issue, and it's really short too, but it's like writing about the issue and why it's important and why our representative should support it. And it's really fun, but it's like cool that we have the power to like publish that in like local newspapers where people can see it. And press is really important. So if a politician's getting bad press and like having like a bunch of like college students calling them out, then like they'll be like, oh, okay, like maybe we should meet with them again and like talk things out and like figure it out. But it's not always negative, but it's an effective tool. And also just sending emails and letters of like a drafted like script of what we want to say, which is super easy to do. And then hosting advocacy events. There's a lot of different ways we could do this, but maybe next semester we can plan something, but not right now with COVID season. But these are just a few of the tools that we have to create change, but there are obviously many more, but these are a lot of the tools that we use. So.
Another thing I just want to add on top of what Marissa said is like when politicians or people that we're speaking to get good or bad press, it has an impact already, but especially right now with the election coming up and a lot of potential for re-election or getting kicked out of that seat. Like you guys, we have them like in the palm of our hands. We for sure can do some stuff. So I just wanted to add that. I'm super excited.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I think is like really cool, that we do have like power and influence, and like whether it might seem like small right now, like if it's just like you're talking to only one representative, but like there are domino effects, and like we're an entire network of engaged teams all across the country. So like it's not just like one representative we're talking to. So
another thing I thought of to just kind of add on what Marissa said, how it does seem to be like, it seems small when you think about it, and like I'm one person talking to this one person. Our coach Annam, who hopefully you guys will get to meet one day via Zoom, she told me this statistic about how every one individual that meets with a member of Congress, like statistically represents about 5,000 to 10,000 people within the like community. They just haven't met with that person. So us voicing our thoughts and like our wants and asks definitely represents more than just us, and I think a good politician understands that too. So it might feel small because we are just one physical person, but like we do have other people out there that just haven't found us yet and don't know how to approach someone. So I just wanted to add that too. based off of what Marissa said, which I thought was super important. Yeah. Okay.
So next, Katie's gonna share about the COVID-19 campaign. It started in the summer and it's still going on. And this is actually something that we participated in, which was super cool. It was like right at the start of us like forming the club. So it was kind of like stressful and crazy, but really, really cool. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So this summer Partners Health was doing this campaign, and basically they had these like 3 asks, or these 3 things they wanted to accomplish through this one bill that they were trying to pass in Congress. And I'm not gonna like go into intense detail, but basically it was to allocate money for contact tracing and testing, which would also help employ people that are unemployed, and then help allocate money to support low-income countries, and this is like again like a global perspective on it as well, and then to guarantee that if a vaccine becomes available, that everyone in the US will be able to get it at a normal price and keep it in the public domain, and not allow some big pharma company to jack up the price of it so that everyone can have it. So basically we met, I think this summer we met with a couple of like our representatives. So I know like my district in Cleveland, like Marsha Fudge was one that we met with, or I think a good group of us met with her. And then we have Marissa's rep is David Joyce, I think, right? And then we also, our 2 Ohio senators were Portman and Brown, and I think we met with Portman. I don't think Brown's office got back to us, but we did meet with Rob Portman's office. And then I think Julie met with one of the her Cincinnati representative down there. But so yeah, it was a really good way. We like organized with where we were living. So like some of the girls that were from Case, they were like to the Cleveland representatives and like with us. And basically we did like 3 or 4 Zoom calls, and we met with the legislative aides of the representatives, and basically told them about Partners in Health, told them about this like COVID campaign and why we think they should support it. And then they kind of like asked us questions, and it was pretty brief, but it was like a really good way to like have them understand what Partners in Health was. It was cool to like talk to people that are like involved with legislation. And again, just another good way to increase advocacy and like kind of feel like you're contributing something. So I'm not totally sure about the status of this bill right now, but I know that we did something. We bugged the representatives' offices, and it was a cool thing to do and to talk about Partners in Health and to increase awareness for sure. So yeah, that's something we did this summer, and that's like part of advocacy for PIH Engage. So.
Yeah, and as like a PIH Engage network, we had over 90 meetings with members of Congress, which I think is really, really cool. Like, that we have such an influence, and like it was even like over the summer, like not even in the school year, but like we really all like came together to work towards like congressional support for COVID-19, and like also global support, but also it was really cool, I think, to have that experience. And I can like attest for all of us, like we were really nervous like going into it, because we're like, oh, this is so intimidating, like, but the legislative aides were all like in their 20s or 30s, and like we had like prep sessions before, and like we had like a bunch of like literature to like prepare us for it, like all the bills and everything was like lined up for us. So like we like, they don't just like send you into like a meeting with a member of Congress or like their staff like completely just like blind, like we all like prepare each other and like build each other up and make sure like we all feel good about it before doing it. So it was really cool though. So like I'm excited to have like more meetings with everyone as we go on. But do you want to go to the next slide, Katie? Julie.
Yeah, I also want to add again to what Marissa and Katie both said. So Katie mentioned like, yeah, I'm not really sure like the status of our asks either, but I do know there ended up being language in a lot of the proposed legislature about like the $12 billion, which is a number that we came up with and like a number that we were using. So it was really cool to see that starting to be implemented. I don't know if they ever took it to vote or like had it even become part of a bill, but they did start using our language. And then secondly, based off of what Marissa said in terms of like having the prep sessions and building each other up and stuff, and they give us these very specific asks with a script and everything. So for me, like one, it took away the super like daunting task of like not knowing what to say, but also they do that because we as a network have 72 teams with like 1,000 to 2,000 people on those teams, and if we're all asking for the exact same thing 1,000 times over, it's just going to get drilled in over and over and over and over again. So they definitely make sure that like we're all asking for the exact same thing, which I think is, it's like it makes so much sense, but I'm like, yeah, why wouldn't we all just ask for the exact same thing in the exact same language? Like it, yeah. So that was just something I wanted to add to. I have a lot to say about everything, so I probably will just keep adding on.
I think this bill might have gotten actually blocked recently, but hopefully it will maybe get going there soon. I don't know. Congress isn't really accomplishing much right now, but well, it's the thought. I just looked it up, but
thank you for that super dismal update. Yeah, yay for lack of progress.
So vote, please.
Retweet. Links in the first slide, people. Okay, so yeah, this is Joyce Beatty, and she is the Columbus representative for Ohio's 3rd District. So I think there's 88 districts in Ohio, and she has been a representative as a congresswoman since 2013. Prior to that, she served 5 years in the Ohio House of Representatives before she moved to the United States House of Representatives. And she's on a quote-unquote exclusive House Committee of Financial something services. I think my screen cut off here, so I have it on my phone. Sorry about that. But yeah, she is on a committee of financial services, and basically it oversees the entire financial services industry. So this includes stuff like the nation's banking, securities, insurance, and housing industries. And then it also encompasses the work of the Federal Reserve, the United States Department of the Treasury, and the United States Securities and Exchange Commission. So she's definitely very aware of a lot of financial aspects of what's going on in the US, which also means she is an important person to keep in mind when we are thinking about global financial asks, because people who are tied to the financial status of the United States are almost conversely thinking about the financial like aid being sent to other countries. Like they want to make sure that the United States is secure in their financial position before they think about that. So like when we approach her about the financial aspects going to overseas, that's just like another thing to think about. And then she's also on a subcommittee that is something else financial. It is housing and insurance and oversight and investigations. So I don't 100% know what that one does, but those are the committees that she's on. And then let's see, what else do I have on here? So yeah, she's worked on legislature and created legislature on urban development, infant mortality rate reduction in Ohio, because Ohio has one of the highest infant mortality rates in the nation. And we're working on reducing it, but it's not great. And that's something that we will learn more about, I'm sure. And then also she's proposed legislation, or I think she got it passed on reducing human trafficking. And I put in here that it's bipartisan. So she's a Democrat, but bipartisan means she has verbiage that is supportive or supported by both Democratic and Republican parties. So it's almost like a social justice issue. So you shouldn't really be against it regardless of your political stance. So I think that's like the main goal there. Because like if you think about human trafficking, like they don't pick, oh, I'm only going to like target this one demographic of people. Like it's just a horrible thing and it should be stopped by everyone. And then she's also worked at the Ohio State, not at the United States. She was on some committee that I honestly don't know off the top of my head. Oh yeah, I do. She worked as the Senior Vice President of Outreach and Engagement at OSU. And yeah, so she's cool. She seems cool. She's a snappy dresser. Uh, and this is someone that we are definitely, I'm sure a few of you, if not like anyone, at least one person I think may or may not be from Columbus, so that might be someone that you guys are reaching out to in the future. But also as an Engage network, because we are in Columbus, we will be reaching out to her. So it's just good to have a general idea of who she is, what she supported in the past, how she's voted on certain things. And I posted the link to her informational page on the House website down at the bottom here. So if you guys want to spend some free time and go check her out, you can. So yeah, that is a little bit about her. Okay.
Okay, so I am going to talk about, I think, about like who your reps are and stuff. Kind of keep talking about it, but you guys are like, how do I know like who mine are and all that kind of stuff. So, first link is to find your senators and your representatives for your state, and I'll put the link in the chat so you can do that really quick. It's super easy. All you have to do is write your home address, and it tells you who your representatives are and your senators. It'll give you a list, pictures of them, background information, contact information for you to get in touch with them if you need to, for letters to the editor or emails or phone calls or anything like that. The second link is for your district representatives, so you enter your zip code, and then it tells like you possible representatives for like your district, and then if you want to find out your exact representative, you could put your full address in, and then it tells you like exactly which representative is specific to your district. It's super easy, and it's good to know stuff like for future advocacy events and like just to know what's going on. It'll literally take 2 minutes at most, so you guys could do that.
Okay, and then once you've done that, the very last link is a Google Drive link, and it will take you to this page here. And this is our team roster. So this is where like you can see myself and the team leads. We've put like our names, our emails, phone numbers, and then like we've put our representatives. That's something that Partners in Health likes to keep track of. And then also it's as an Engage network, when we work together to kind of contact these people, we can just reference this. So if you're interested in becoming like a recurring member of the team, go ahead and put your name, and you don't have to put your phone number if you don't want to, but like your representatives is the most important thing, because we just want to make sure we've got all of our possible modes of contact linked there. So if anyone has any questions, also ask any of the leads for this part. And yeah, Alexis will close it out whenever.
Almost give us like a
What'd you say?
I'm just gonna give them a few minutes to fill out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was just like, call it whenever. It shouldn't be too hard.
We'll do 2 minutes.
Where do we send you the representatives?
So in the chat, the very last link to the Google Drive, if you click on that, you should be able to put in your name and the representatives.
And to clarify, the stuff that you put in the roster is the one from the first link. Your representative and your senator. Your representative and your senators.
Yeah, good clarification. Oh, sorry.
Alexis, I don't think that we can type in the document.
Okay, that might have been my bad. Let me check. Oh.
Wait, am I typing in it? I'm confused. Or I was trying to.
Well, so okay, so I sent it as I did this thing here, and then okay, it's thinking, and I did share, and then I did get link, and then anyone on the internet with the link can edit it. I'll try it again, and then if not, I will just we can manually type it in because that's really fun. Okay. Okay, go ahead and try that one, and then if it doesn't work, I will just type it in manually.
You guys have to, once you go in, it says open with or something on the top. You want to down click and then hit Google Sheets, and that'll take you to this slide.
Oh, mine did pop. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Oops. Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Okay. Let me just close that up. I'm just gonna check here. Okay.
And while you guys are doing this, I just want to like reiterate one time just to close it out because we're running out of time. That it's important just to know these reps if we ever do another advocacy event, and you have to reach out to the representatives or the senators. And also just good just like to know and like be like active part of advocacy like with partisan health in general. So yeah, it's just good to know this kind of stuff, and you could use it in the future for when we have future advocacy events or letters to the editors and that kind of stuff.
Isn't that hard to say?
I always mess it up.
I do too. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So, being conscientious of your guys' time. Marissa, would you like to kind of explain what we were going to do, and then we can do that at the start of our next meeting?
Yeah, definitely. We had planned a little like advocacy and action activity for all of us to work to build more support for the COVID-19 campaign, and just like send out a quick email or call your representative's office, using one of the scripts provided by Partners in Health. But we're gonna skip that because we don't want to like run over on time, and we can always just do it next week or do it another time. But we thought it'd be nice to actually like do a little advocacy during the advocacy meeting, but that's okay. And the reason why we have email or call is because like the offices are closed, so you would just get a voicemail, which would be like a lot less intimidating for the first time. But we can always do that next week, but that was our little plan.
Yeah, I think we'll definitely do it next week. Is someone saying something? Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt. Okay. So then one thing I just wanted to mention, this was from the Campaign Against Racism event that was held yesterday, and I think I saw a few of you guys there, so that was really cool. I'm gonna make a few comments on it, but if you guys want to jump in, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. But it was honestly, it was like the coolest thing ever, you guys. It was so amazing to hear from these people. There were speakers from there was a young woman from Ireland, but she was zooming in from Barcelona. And then there was like a gentleman from Brazil, and then there was a girl from like Palestine. And it was so cool. Everyone was like from like 24 chapters in like 10 different countries. And they have this really amazing network devoted to campaigning against racism while also advocating for equality and equity and health. So they started off as an equality and equity health-based like organization, and then they noticed that a lot of the root of the problems were really coming from this like entrenched racism and like issues that went just even further and like even deeper into institutional problems that were affecting the health thing. So very similar to what Partners in Health has been kind of working towards. And I just think it was so cool to hear from all these speakers and their different ways and different issues that they're kind of dealing with COVID, that like everyone has such a different experience dealing with COVID. And I just thought that was really cool. And so I provided information here. Oh, yeah. Okay, so this is something Partners in Health related. So I'm actually going to click on this, and hopefully my Google doesn't hate me. Okay, it does. Good. Okay, bear with me for like half a second. But anyway, so Partners in Health, two team members in the Engage network are starting a BIPOC, which is Black, Indigenous, Person of Color, Inclusion and Alliance campaign. Here it is. Okay. I think they have said it better than I could. Also, I don't know what's happening. Hello, please work. Okay, so I wanted to share this with you guys. So their mission statement, I'll read it in case it's hard for some people to read. If it's small, I don't know what my screen's doing. But they're creating a safe space for BIPOC members to build community through thoughtful and respectful conversations focused on anti-racist pedagogy. Aims to create a support network for BIPOC members at every level of involvement, and this is within Partners in Health. And the Alliance will aid Partners in Health Engage's greater mission to diversify the network and establish clear pathways to leadership for all members. So if you are interested in joining, the emails of these two team members is down here, and I can't copy it right now, but I'm also going to include all this information in the newsletter. I know it's very fast and not really succinct, but yeah, if you're interested in joining, they are open to any BIPOC individual, just because they are really trying to facilitate that like uplifting and inclusive diversification. So that was just something I wanted to present to you guys. I thought it was a really amazing opportunity, and I'm really excited. It just got started over the summer. It's new and it's exciting, and yeah, I will definitely put more information in the newsletter, but I wanted to share that with you guys. And then this is the link to the Campaign Against Racism website. Okay, that's all I had to say. Oh, unless someone else wants to say something, if you went to the meeting yesterday. I think I saw Julia there, and Allie, I think you went as well. You should send.
I registered, but I actually forgot about it.
It was at a weird time. It's okay.
Yeah, I went to it. It was pretty cool. I thought the coolest part about it was just being able to be on this meeting. It was only like 50 people on it, but people from all over, like it was cool listening to people that were, in such a different place than us, and like going into the breakout rooms with different people. Like I went into a breakout room with the people who led the organization in New Orleans, and so it was just kind of cool to hear about it from specific people, and I don't know, just that was cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. It was cool. Hopefully, I think it was being recorded also, so if there is a recorded version that I can send out in the newsletter, I'm definitely going to do that for sure, because it was really cool. Okay, I'm done now.
All right, I'm just going to finish the meeting up really quick. So look out for the newsletter on Thursday with the slides and the recording, any other information to give to you guys. And again, keep spreading the word so we could build our membership and recruitment, like numbers and stuff, because like we could do the most advocacy work and fundraising work if we have more members. So definitely reach out to your friends, roommates, classmates, whoever. Also consider joining a team to get more involved if you want to join one of the team leads. So their options are either fundraising with Katie, advocacy with Marissa, or community and education with me. So if you guys are interested in getting more involved and want a leadership position, reach out to us and we could give you more info. So that's everything for me.
Thank you all for coming and being engaged and participating today. And I know it's midterm season, so good luck if you guys all have exams. this week or next week. And I hope you guys all have a good week and a good rest of your night.
Thank you. You too.
You too.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you to my hello chat. Hello. Oh, you're welcome, guys. Thanks to the team leads for being awesome. I love you guys so much. You're the best forever. You guys are my favorite. Is it just us now? Okay, cool. I'm gonna stop recording too. I'm gonna remember to cut that out. How do I stop it?